Good morning. My name is Leslie Williams, and today's date is March 11th, 2012, and I'm in San Diego, California. I'm a target of organized stalking, which is also known as gang stalking. Fellow citizens, fellow San Diegoans, and fellow Americans. And since these type of expeditions are actually worldwide, I'm going to make these statements also to my fellow brothers and sisters out there who are in other countries, like the Netherlands, Europe, even some of my Russian brothers and sisters right now who are fighting Putin. My thumbs up to you, brothers and sisters, for I know your oppression. I've been watching it. My name is Leslie Williams. I make this video today to help fellow citizens become aware of what's been happening towards me openly now since the year 2002. I'm aware that I don't make the best videos, and I apologize that this video is not coming to you in a more formal setting. But I have to make these videos when I have a time, when time is available to make them. I'm learning disabled, but understand this and be clear. Hang on a second. Don't let the way I talk or my mannerism mislead you into thinking that I'm retarded, or that I don't know what I'm doing, or that I don't know what I'm talking about. And at the risk of sounding like I'm tooting my own horn, I'm going to make this statement to help you understand something. I'm gifted, okay, and I'm intelligent, and I'm a federal and state whistleblower, okay? I know exactly what's happening towards me, and they know I know it. And they know I know everything. That's why what is happening towards me is happening towards me on a more feverish scale and a more covert scale in reference to the containment of the exposure of this crime that is happening to me. Psychotronics is one area in reference to what's happening towards me. Go to YouTube and Google and type in remote neural monitoring, remote neural influencing, and remote neural stimulating. Hang on a second. That's what I get for not putting my cigarette out. So, why am I making this particular video? If you go on YouTube and type in learning disabled woman brutally and just hit enter, you'll see all of my videos. Okay? And if you go to Google and type in learning disabled woman gang stalk to San Diego, again, you'll begin to see all my blogs. Understand this. What's been happening towards me has been happening towards me all my life. I've been a human experimentation target all my life. My dad was Chief MP to Curtis LeMay. And who is Curtis LeMay? He was a general. He is the literal general who developed and made sure that the Air Force Strategic Air Command was developed, and he is literally the one who developed it and brought it about in its fruition throughout the years to make it what it is today. And an extremely important general. And here's the thing. My dad also worked in the Aerospace Union in the electrical engineer capacity. I have a cousin in NASA, uncles in the Air Force, and my ex-husband was in the Navy. And he was also in electrical engineering capacity in reference to what he did for the Navy, and he also had aspirations in robotics. Now, if you understand what psychotronics is, you'll begin to make the connection. Stay with me and you'll understand it over time. I've literally been a human experimentation target my whole entire life. I know without a doubt that I have neural implants in my ears, on the top of my head, in my back shoulder blade, probably in the motor cortex, in my spine, in my bladder. Yes, in my bladder, in my feet, and probably in my legs as well. Now, in part, in order for you to be able to understand what's happening towards me, I've made some videos online that you can easily view, talking about Oakwood Hospital in Dearborn, Michigan. There was a doctor that got busted who got caught for putting implants in the heads of hundreds and hundreds of children in Dearborn, Michigan, and in the surrounding communities of Dearborn, Michigan, in the Wayne County area. He got caught putting these these stimulated responsive implants in children's brains under the guise of epilepsy. This happened between the years of 2006 and 2009, and he got caught. That was the same exact hospital that I was due to go to in the same calendar years that that doctor was working. by an individual who had overtly and covertly infiltrated my life through friendly means. And this, as far as them duping me to go in there, was before I discovered what gang stalking was, and before I discovered that doctors and hospitals play a role in it. All you have to do is extensively, thoroughly research organized stalking and or gang stalking to hospitals, psychiatric floors, county mental health, doctors, and look at the amount of Google-generated responses you'll get to be able to understand that these are factual realities in reference to the description of these terms. They're not there for no reason. The neural implantation is used, one of the main implants that they use towards targets like me are what is known as transreceiver implants, where they can transmit and also receive. It's for subliminal programming. Now, stay with me because you'll be able to understand this over time. You can go to YouTube and type in neurodecoding, and go to Google and do it as well. Synthetic telepathy, yes, just do it. If you do it, you'll see the truth unfold before your eyes, and you'll become to understand that what I am describing are factual, literal realities. Okay? Now, why are these implants put in? They're put in for, see, with remote neural monitoring, what that technology does is it literally monitors you neurally from a remote distance, using the transreceiver implant as the conduit for it. It transmits data from the evoked potentials and the neural activity of a target to them. And the receiving is when they transmit whatever they want. See, in the remote neural monitoring file, it clearly talks about how EEG readouts can be retransmitted to a target's brain. Neurodecoding. See, what they do, as far as this human experimentation goes, now remember, I got a speech impediment, so just bear with me. When it comes to neural decoding, what they do is they neurally decode your evoked potentials, which are your thought processes, and any other neural activity, including motor cortex associated actions. And as a result of being able to neurally decode your evoked potentials and the resonance frequencies that are attached to specific neural networks, they can then identify and mark them for what they are in reference to what's incorporated within that neural circuit. In other words, what the evoked potentials are, any memories, any other type of thought processes when it comes to a neural network that they have identified and then will mark that's already in your brain. And as a result of them knowing your resonance frequency, they can literally clone EEGs and then retransmit them back to your brain. Now, they also interlace within these EEG evoked potentials that they clone is voice morphing. And what is that? That is literally my voice that they take a voice algorithm print of, and then they use their technology. They develop software. It's called voice morphing or voice modulating, voice synthesizing. And what they can literally do is mimic my voice by taking my voice print, incorporating it in within a software program, and then speaking into a device, and anything they say comes out in my voice. And this application is already used on smartphones and iPhones. It's you can download into smartphones and iPhones and download applications like PyPi's voice or Yosemite Sam's voice, and then talking to the application, and whatever you say comes out in their voice, PyPi's voice. And this is just to give you a preliminary introduction in reference to what us targets put up with on a daily basis. Now, if you can clone EEGs, okay, and then identify those, and then since they're cloning them, they know the resonance frequency of them. And then what they do is when they go to transmit it into a target's head, what they'll do is step down that modulated frequency of that cloned evoked potential to interface with the bioelectric frequency of the target's brain. So whatever evoked potential is cloned, whatever EEG is cloned and transmitted back to the target's head using the transreceiver implant, it is what I'm literally just trying to say to you is basically they had the literal ability to create artificial neural networks through EEG cloning and transmit those cloned readouts, those spiked EEGs back into a target's head, to literally put thoughts in a person's head thoughts in a person's head, and to be able to transmit dialogue into a target's head in a target's own voice. So a target hears it in their audio cortex and believes it's their own thought process. This is literally what they do. Now, can you imagine that happening to you while you're in the physical midst of organized stalkers who have boxed you in along your route and are provoking you physically? Say if you're on a trolley, and you get on a trolley, and through the stalking, they know where you're at. So you get on the trolley and you sit down. They got a few of them already on the trolley. Then a couple more get on after you sit down, and they sit by you or stand by you. Then a couple of them will provoke you. Yeah. And while you're in the midst of this intimidation, they'll transmit, using the voice morphing, ideas in your head, because your audio cortex is hearing your own voice, how you can react to being provoked. Do you see what I'm saying? And since it's stimulated and transmitted underneath the perceptual radar, and you're hearing it in your own voice, you just believe it's your own thought processes responding to the provocation. Yeah, it's mind control. My name is Leslie Williams. This is just one small avenue. It's 0.1% of what I know in reference to what's not only happening to me, but thousands of other Americans. It's mind control. It's literally flat out that simple. And so go to Google and type in remote neuromonitoring and look for the PDF files. It flat out says everything that I just described to you in reference to them being able to transmit EEGs into a target's brain. Now, the other information you can find out at YouTube and Google as well, the neurodecoding, the voice morphing, voice modulating, subvocal speech. Now, I'm going to make a small illustration to you. Do you know how you can train a dog to sit, stand, run, fetch? Well, through neurolinguistic programming, what they can do is literally train you to think a certain way. They identified that neural network that holds those evoked potentials in reference to being trained to think a specific way. Then they identify and mark that neural network, the resonance frequency of it, and can stimulate it on any date to get you to act out and think in the same exact way that you've been trained. That's mind control. My name is Leslie Williams. So if they take a 16-year-old girl out of her house, through a skanky, slimy snake that's infiltrated her life through intimate means by taking advantage of her naivety, and takes her to another state and says, geez, now we're in a situation, what are we going to do? How are we going to eat? How are we going to eat? And then maybe all of a sudden, or maybe he takes off and she has no way home. Okay? She has no way home. Or maybe she comes from a house where there's domestic violence or sexual exploitation. So she figures she doesn't want to go back home. See how they operate? This might not be the best illustration, but the point I'm trying to make is you're going to take a 16-year-old girl and they're going to put skanks along her route to say, well, all you got to do is sleep with me and I'll give you some money. All you got to do is sleep with me and I'll give you some money. And guess what happens to her? She thinks it, acts on it. They identify that neural network, and then they'll stimulate her every single day, and she'll just believe that she is just having the same idea for the same given situation because she's got to eat. Neural exploitation, mental slavery for prostitution, an enslaved little girl or an enslaved little boy for mind control, for sexual servitude rings. My name is Leslie Williams, and I apologize that wasn't the best illustration because, I got a speech impediment. But understand this and be clear. Everything I just described to you are literal, factual realities. Now, a huge prostitution ring just got uncovered in New York over this past week. Today's date is March 11, 2012. In this past week, a huge sexual servitude ring was busted in New York, and it flat out shows that the New York police were directly involved in it. My name is Leslie Williams. The San Diego police are doing the same exact thing here in San Diego. It's a nationwide syndicate using the same schemes, the same technologies to take people out of their home, to get them involved in prostitution, to entrain them, to enslave them for them. My name is Leslie Williams.